Hello and welcome. I didn't prepare an intro. Jake's usually the one that comes up for the content with this, and he's not here. Welcome to King's Chaos. Yeah, that's the intro. We got nothing. So, hi, welcome to the show. Our guest list has drastically dropped, and I'm not talking about from last week. Last week we were on spring break. I just got some people together and recorded. That was 5 guests. The week before that was at least 3, right?
Well, there was at one point where we had 1, 2, 3, 4. There were like 5.
Yeah,
there were 5 guests because there were 2 ADJs.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks. That was 3 weeks ago.
I probably, maybe.
I forget.
Perhaps.
Last week was guest in description, so we couldn't fit them all. But we had you, Jake, Mike, and Ben. So we had 4. We have 1 today. Hi, it's just me and Emol McCormack.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Welcome to King's Chaos, the special 50th episode. I expected a bigger celebration. Woo! I guess it took 49 episodes for people to realize this show isn't going anywhere.
Oops, guess I didn't put it together.
All right.
I'm not good at math.
All
anyway,
right.
Hi guys.
Oh, you're not leaving?
Oh yeah, I'll just dip.
Okay. Well, it's just me. Hi everyone. It's just me now. Welcome to King's Chaos. If I knew it was going to be this small of a turnout, I might actually prepare a script. But that's not what we do. See, because that creates order. And order is bad. We don't like order here. So what was the question we had yesterday? Emol didn't actually leave, by the way.
Hi, surprise! I'm still here. Sorry.
Okay, so I got to the office later last night, and I walked in on something. I don't know what that something was, but I do remember the question. What was it? Do you want finger-sized legs or leg-sized fingers? And your answer was? See, okay. This is something we discussed with a lot of people.
Yeah,
but there's not a lot of people here.
This answer is in collaboration with Yaz. We decided that it would make more sense to have finger-sized legs, for you could just get like some sort of prosthetics so that you could have longer legs that doesn't even require the removal of said finger legs. However, if you had fingers the size of legs, then you wouldn't really be able to do that much. You would take up a lot of space. First of all, you wouldn't, everything that you use your fingers for, you wouldn't be able to do that. Like, how would you even tie a shoe?
See, that was my thing.
But then
I can barely understand how people function with the nails that come out to like 5 inches past their fingertips. I'm like, how do you get anything done like that? Yeah. Now imagine, not only are your fingers as long as legs, but I'm taking it as thick as them too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I'm considering too. How would you even fit into doors?
Exactly.
Doorways fit into doors. Yeah, no, so I have nails that are longer than other like people,
but not
just
by
cut
much
them, but not, I have natural nails.
Yeah,
but the
ones
like that
are
really
fake extensions,
they're a lot for me, and if you can handle that, then good for you, but I can't. Just the upkeep with them, like you have to get them done. Yeah,
it just feels like the unsupported weight of them freaks me out.
Yeah, and then also I've only had this experience with natural nails, but when they break, they are horrible. I had it a couple weeks ago, literally in this studio during Morning Buzz. I kicked my seat, I kicked my hand. I kicked my foot, and my nail broke, and it was really unfortunate. Look, it's growing back. But it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. It's not. So I think we're all on board with finger-sized legs.
All, we're all on board.
All collective, two of us. What happened to my crew? I used to have a steady influx of people. What happened? I was gonna like, the plan for today was be like, hey, you've been here for so long, might as well officially induct you into the show. It was gonna be a whole big celebration, and nobody showed up.
No, I'm here.
Yeah.
I got you.
Thank you, Emol.
Of course.
And so, yeah, Mike told me he had laundry. So I guess that's,
he gave you warning.
He did. So I guess. But then Cam's like, I'm coming on your show today. I'm like, cool. Where is he?
Where you at?
It's okay. It's okay. We can make good content.
We could try.
Look, it might seem very similar, but I assure you, this is not Heavy as the Crown. That show's for Victor and Nicole. Yes, we run their social media. And yes, it's weird. We look very similar, but some people are just like that sometimes. We're not related either, which is weird. Yeah. You're not related, right?
I don't believe so.
Almost. But yeah, Vector's tasked me with trying to figure out Nicole's last name.
Oh, really? That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You think that I know Nicole's last name?
Well, maybe if you were related, that would explain why you look alike. And then maybe.
Well, Nicole's last name is not McCormack. Sorry to burst your bubble. However, I do know her last name.
I was just gonna say maybe you're related, because how many people have purple hair as a natural color?
We're simply built different.
Understandable.
Yeah, we're part of the same genre of people with purple hair. And that's how we somewhat get along.
Did you just say genre of people? I'm pretty sure they're called races.
Your point.
They're not genres.
I'm pretty sure we just said the same thing, Kyle.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like this morning when I was in my room, I was speaking with my roommate about car breeds.
Why?
I don't know. That's one of my favorite things, is you just gotta say stuff like that.
Oh, that's a cute car. What kind of breed is it?
What species?
Oh, it's a Volkswagen Fiat mix. I'm trying to describe a smart car here.
Oh,
it's a Beetle. I don't know any brands of Fiats.
You don't know genres of cars.
I thought it was car breeds.
Car species. Car flavors, if you will.
What's your favorite genre of bread?
Loaf.
Nobody understands that joke yet.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I'll admit. Okay, you know what? Let's get real here for a second.
I'm so real.
As Heavy as the Crown's digital marketing team, we would like to make a formal apology. We have been slacking a little bit on the uploads and stuff. But you know, Vector and Nicole, they're starting to get on our nerves.
Yeah,
I don't like them much anymore.
They're exhausting.
They are. All they do is fight
all the time. It's really unnecessary. Like, just when you think that maybe they'll start getting along, then they don't.
Yeah,
but I feel like that's their goal, is just they want to hate each other.
It does seem like that.
Yeah,
it's weird.
And it gets really frustrating. Like, you know, sometimes they're actually quite tame in the studio. It might be a little hard to believe, but like back in the office, they're like throwing stuff at each other.
Yeah.
They actually threw a chair once.
Broke it, right?
Yeah. It was rough. That's why we have one less chair in the office, and we're always fighting for chairs.
Yeah, we are.
So the next time you're sitting on the floor, just blame Vector.
Sure, because it's not by choice.
No.
I'm never on the floor by choice.
Imagine.
Yeah. We have some leftover questions from Ask the Buzz. Do we want to do those?
We can.
Okay. I don't know. None of them were particularly good this week. I'm sorry, Isaiah. Yeah. But I do want to say, when we were talking about our least favorite character from a show we love, Donna Noble from Doctor Who, she wasn't my favorite companion. She was okay, but like Rose Tyler, the first one, who was with Doctors 9 and 10. Do you know Doctor Who?
Barely.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm looking for the document.
No, you're good.
Can you repeat that though?
Do you know Doctor Who?
Slightly.
Or before that? Okay.
Slightly.
Yeah. So Rose Tyler was the first companion I saw because I started with New Who. I didn't go through 1960s onward because I don't know how to find those ones. I'd love to watch it, but I'm lazy.
So you started with 9.
9.
Okay.
And so Rose Tyler was the first companion, and I absolutely loved her. I love 9 too. I was really sad to see him go at the end of the first season. I'm like, well, I got rid of my favorite doctor and favorite companion. Why bother watching the show? And then I watched 10, and I'm like, oh, wait, never mind. 10 is the best.
Oh, I love David.
Yeah, David's good. I haven't kept up with that show, which is unfortunate because I love it. I fell out half like in Capaldi's first season, I think.
I think the most I watched was probably Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi. And then I was actually watching during Capaldi like a lot because my mom was really into Doctor Who and I was really into Sherlock, and they're all like very they're not really
shows.
Connected, but all like the fans are all connected. And
Supernatural too.
I've never seen an episode of Supernatural.
I have not either.
And every time I hear their voices, I get really shook because they're like really deep.
Oh yeah.
And I hear their voices so little that I get like almost disturbed by
somebody in my religion school, not the high school. This was prep school beforehand. This is before you do confirmation or whatever. This doesn't mean anything to you. But somebody described the first episode of Supernatural to me, and every so often it still haunts me.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about like, oh yeah, the baby was on the ceiling with its head spun around. I'm like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm gonna go this way now. My mom's here. Bye. Hope to never see you again. That's not true. I forget who it was, but they were a pretty cool person. But Supernatural never was into horror much stuff until recently. So maybe it's worth a shot. I don't know, but
I feel like I should watch at least an episode to say that I've done that, because how could I have been so involved in like the super Hulock area, but I didn't actually watch it.
I want to watch Sherlock because I love Sherlock. I love mysteries and stuff, and I played Moriarty in a play once.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was so fun. I slipped on an actual banana peel. I'll explain that in a second, but what I want to say, but the thing is, my best friend that I've known the longest, 13 years, somehow that number hasn't gone up in the last 5 years. I don't understand it. But let me explain that now, because we've been friends since 2nd grade. And every year it feels like I'm like, oh yeah, we've been friends for 13 years. And every time I say that, I'm like, I feel like that number should have gone up by now. And I feel like it's been 13 years for at least 3 years now. Which would explain, because it would cross over with COVID. So maybe time has stopped.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, backtrack. Yes. So me and him, I was into Doctor Who and he was into Sherlock.
As he should be.
And I'm like, you should watch Doctor Who. And he's like, you should watch Sherlock. But he's like, no, I'm not into Doctor Who. And I'm like, okay, out of spite, I will never watch Sherlock.
No, I'm gonna fix that. Sorry, not sorry.
I'm open to it because it's fun. It seems
really
like a fun
good.
show, but it does seem long.
Oh yeah, every episode is an hour and a half. But every season's only 3 episodes.
Yeah.
How
many seasons are there?
There's currently 4. I would say that the first 2, in my opinion, are the best. The 3rd is okay, and the 4th is just not it. But because I feel like the fan base just grew because it takes so long from one season to the next, because they're essentially 3 movies.
Right.
That it's just one of those
movies.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, like, obviously there's a lot of time in between seasons, which means that if it's a good show, there's a lot of time for the fan base to grow. So I feel like there was a lot of pressure on them. And in addition to, Benedict Cumberbatch becoming incredibly huge.
Butter snuff crinkle flies.
Precisely. Same thing with like Martin Freeman. I mean, I assume that they're bigger, like,
than they were.
or like at least in England, like but then it became
he just plays Doctor Strange. It's fine.
His American accent is really something else.
Convincing.
It's a little uncomfy just because I know him so well as Sherlock. But he's one of those actors. He looks like
two different people.
Yeah, that's
Doctor
true.
Strange and Sherlock.
I feel like he's one of
which could also relate back to Doctor Who.
But he's one of those actors that I just associate him with the first character that I ever seen him as. So when I see Doctor Strange, I'm like not convinced. Even though he has a really good accent, he's a really incredible actor, but I'm still like, haha, Sherlock.
That's fair.
But I think in addition, like the actors have just become really big, and I believe that the writers have, you know, expanded to like other projects and stuff like that. So it's kind of been on the back burner. And then the latest season, I don't remember what happened very much, but I don't want to spoil it for you. But there's a big character that is no longer alive. By the time
say no longer with us
in the Sherlock universe. So by season 4, that was just a bummer.
Okay.
You know, it's just like this person's not here anymore. It's just kind of lame.
Have you seen the Sherlock movies with RDJ?
It's been a very long time, but I have. That's where I started liking Sherlock.
I have only seen the first one. I didn't see Game of Shadows, I believe it was called. I really need to rewatch that first one because I remember liking it, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I just remember I watched those and I love RDJ, but I remember becoming fascinated with Sherlock as a character. So that's why years later, my mom was actually the one who started watching Sherlock in my household. She's like, I think you'd like it. And I was like, maybe I'll try it. And then, you know, I became like, I ran a Sherlock Instagram fan account for years. I had, that's one of those shows, I would say probably the first show that I watched where I had inner conflict because I didn't know if the main character was my favorite character. Because I love Sherlock as a character. He kind of isn't the best person, but like that'll happen.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love Jim Moriarty. Absolutely. And Andrew Scott does a fantastic job. And so as Kyle knows,
hi, I'm Kyle.
Hi Kyle.
Did I introduce myself? I don't know if I introduced myself.
Remember. Hi Kyle.
Welcome to King's Chaos. I'm your host, Kyle Pepitone, aka the Kyng-Pin parentheses of Spades, joined with Emily McCormack. Emol McCormack, whatever you want to call
Music it. McCormack.
Queen Confusion.
Oh no, now I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about Jim Moriarty. I'm assuming you were going to go for the Bee Gees.
Yes. So one of my favorite scenes ever, and again, because you haven't seen it, I won't go into too much detail, but I already spoiled that Jim Moriarty is a character in the series.
I know. I played Jim Moriarty.
No, well, of course he exists in the Sherlock universe, but they have him in the BBC show.
Yes, I assume so.
You never assume, Kyle. Anyway, there's a scene where point is that his ringtone is Staying Alive by the Bee Gees.
Yes.
And so that has obviously influenced my life because I have many alarms on my phone that go off throughout the day. And my default ringtone is Staying Alive by Bee Gees. But the point in saying that is I made like Sherlock edits and like, 2014 to like 2016, 17 when I was like obsessed. And so my lock screen was a picture of Jim Moriarty and it said Staying Alive for I can't do math. I would say 6 years. I had the exact same lock screen and I refused to change it. And then I lost the original photo. So I'm like, I can never change it. And eventually I did. Because my Sherlock account unfortunately got hacked eventually, and that made me very sad. I had 2,000 followers at some point, which isn't a lot, but a decent amount.
Good, yeah.
And a decent amount of friends. This is a really, really strange fact. So I ran a side account for specifically the character Irene Adler. And I spoke to another person who ran an account specifically for Jim Moriarty. And we were direct messaging one day, not as the characters, but like as ourselves. And I was like, oh yeah, I run this account. And they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. I love that account. And I thought that was really interesting because I'm like, wow, someone actually knows my account. My point is that many of these accounts and the people that I spoke to in 2014 are no longer in use.
Yeah.
I found out that the person runs a different account that I followed on my personal account.
Oh,
And now they go by a different name that I used to know them as. And it was just a very strange thing of like, oh wait, you're that person that I spoke to all those years ago. And
that's cool.
that person, they go by the name Juno. And the weirdest thing is they recently got engaged on stage at a grandson concert. And for anyone
All
who
the
doesn't,
points are connecting
yeah,
for
it's
you.
very strange. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm absolutely obsessed with the artist grandson. And so I saw, I can't call them my friend, but like, you know, an acquaintance. I saw my acquaintance get engaged via one of my favorite artists' Instagrams. It was a very strange interconnection. I'm like, wow, I spoke to this person in like 2015 and we ran Sherlock accounts and it was really funny. And that's a very, very random fact about me.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Moriarty because I totally forgot what I was going to say before about the banana.
Yeah.
And now I remember.
Uh-huh.
So the play we were in. Also, I want to talk about fan accounts because I tried to run one once. Didn't last too long.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, probably for the better. Anyway, so Banana Story. I played Moriarty in a play called, it was like The Strange Case of Sherlock Holmes, where Sherlock and Watson are thrown into the future through a time machine. I forget who invented the time machine. It was like a really meta play, but they wind up in like an insane asylum where everybody thinks there's these different historical characters. So obviously nobody believes Sherlock is Sherlock. They're like, oh, he's delusional. And so I played Moriarty, who thought he was George Washington. He was just playing a part. And I was just trying to steal like the Queen's jewels or something because somebody else was Queen Elizabeth. But at the end, during the face-off, when they find out it's me, I'm evil. I loved playing the villain.
That wasn't acting, actually. That's just real life.
Yeah, and so another person was an extra, but they played Tarzan. And so what they had to do was throw the banana peel, and I slip on it, and that's how they get me. And we did the show 3 nights. And what was it? How did it work? I think the first 2 nights I faked it because like I'm not going to know where the banana is behind me, and I can't look behind me because I'm acting. I'm supposed to slip on it. And then the 3rd night I actually slipped on it and I went down. There was also another night where when I ripped the wig off, it wound up. No, it just wound up in front of the curtain. So when the curtains closed, it was still there. Another night when I dropped the cane I had, it got kicked into the audience.
Oh no.
Another time.
Oh my goodness.
I'm supposed to knock out Sherlock. Fake, of course, because it's a play. I accidentally hit my friend with the cane.
No.
He was fine. He wasn't knocked out, though.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. It was a fun play. Another night, somebody forgot their lines.
How many nights?
3 nights. These are all happened over the course of 3 nights. It's not like each one is a separate night.
All right.
No, but it was so fun to do. And then I think I've told the story where I've broken my leg during rehearsal.
Oh yes, I have heard.
Yeah. I jumped down a flight of stairs.
Wow.
Did I mention the added fact that every play after that they had little lights on the steps so you could see?
That's funny. I wish they
you
had
ever
that
had a rule.
School.
You ever had a rule made because of something you did? There you go.
Honestly, we need those. I can't tell you how many times I've skipped stairs. There's literally like 5 stairs, maybe, like coming down from our stage, and I'm like, I'm going to fall.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad.
Yeah.
Also, when you're during the show, it's pitch black back there.
Yeah.
You can't see anything.
This is very true.
So yeah, it wasn't. It was a fun play. It was probably my favorite one I've done. I did 3. That was the first one I did junior year in the fall. Then we did Little Mermaid in spring, which I think was probably the best one. But I don't know if it's the one I had the most fun doing.
I feel like that's valid. I kind of understand that.
Just because I'm not big on musicals, but also they didn't really give me a singing part for obvious reasons. Yeah. But I was also I played Grimsby in that. So if you could imagine, I didn't have to change my costume much between the two plays. I literally used the same wig, the same like overcoat and stuff, and the same cane.
Good.
Well, not the same cane because the other one was a cheap piece of plastic and it kept breaking.
And being thrown into the audience and stuff.
Well, that one, the one we used for Sherlock, it was the Assassin's Creed cane from Syndicate, where it had the hidden blade in it. It was a piece of plastic. But I took it as a toy because it was, and so it kept breaking, and somebody had to glue it because I broke it before the actual play.
Oh no! As a prop member, I have to be mad at you.
I'm sorry. It's just it's fun because I'm like, oh, I like canes. And so, but my original plan before we bought that, I'm like, my original plan was like, let me hollow out this actual cane I have and try to do that. The cane was about this big, like diameter. It wasn't, you couldn't hollow anything out. Hollowing it out was just shaving the entire cane down.
Oh.
I still own that cane to this day.
Funky and fresh.
Yes, that was 5 years ago.
Good.
Yeah. And then we did in the fall of my senior year, we did Little Shop of Horrors. That one was fun too, but I mean, I got to play the plan, so I can't complain. But I really wanted the dentist role, but they gave the dentist role and the voice of Audrey to the same Audrey 2 to the same person. I'm like, that's not fair. But then looking back, I'm like, never mind, I can't sing, so that would have made the thing hard. And I don't know if I could act that mean. I'm not that kind of person.
Maybe you should consult Baxter.
He's arrogant. Vector's arrogant, but he's not.
He probably thinks that he's more me than he is.
Yeah. He's just a big softy.
Yeah. I don't know about Nicole though.
No,
she's mean.
She's hard to read because she's not really around often.
This is true. She's dealing with some personal things right now.
Yeah. I don't know if as the dentist I could have been mean to my friend's girlfriend.
Oh.
So, yeah, it wasn't because he played Seymour. My friend who played Sherlock, who I whacked with a cane, played Seymour, and then his girlfriend were they dating at that point? I forget. They were whatever. His soon to be or in that time girlfriend played Audrey. And she had the voice for it too, which was insane. And then the spring we were gonna do Sound of Music, but I dropped out. Yeah. I mean, it was fun. I had to watch the play of it for like auditions or something. I forget exactly which version it was, but it wasn't a bad movie, play, musical, whatever you want to call it. Just, I'm like, Little Shop of Horrors was fun. It was like a comedy. This is more of a drama.
Oh, they're definitely very, very different shows. But I'm in a very musical theater household, so I love all of it. We also did Little Mermaid, but it was very exhausting. The show itself was really good, and what was really nice about it was there were a lot of like families that came to see it, so like a lot of little children that were like very happy to see the Little Mermaid, which made me very excited.
Little Mermaid was probably our best performing show.
Yeah. The only thing in recent Dumont High School history that I know did really well was they did Shrek when I was in 8th grade, and it was awesome. And that inspired me to join. And then I don't even know if I should list all the shows that I was in because I was in a decent amount. But the first one we did a play, it was called Fuente Ovejuna, and there were characters that I believe, I could be mixing them up. It was either that was the first play that I did, but then there was another one we did, Shakespeare's As You Like It, and now I feel like I'm confusing that because I know like a lot of the same actors were in them, but there was one where someone had to wrestle someone else and like slam them to the ground, and it went well most of the time, except for when someone was actually slammed to the ground because the actor who had to wrestle the other person was an actual wrestler.
Oh no.
So
boom. Okay, that didn't work as well as I intended to. There we go.
So that was my experience at the beginning of theater. So those were plays. What were the other plays? We did a play called 30 Reasons Not to Be in a Play, which was funny.
That was the play.
That was the play.
Okay.
It was like a lot of skits.
Right.
And it was kind of cute. And then You Can't Take It With You was our senior year play.
Oh, nice.
And I liked the plays, but I was really interested in the musicals. My freshman year, we did Footloose, which I really loved. And then the next year, I wanted to get more involved. We did Little Women, which
Okay.
everyone was actually pretty bummed about. But in the end, I think that might have been my favorite musical that we did. I really loved the soundtrack, and the people who were in it were really talented, and I really came to appreciate it as we were working on it. And I was more involved. I actually was on stage for that one. I played a troll in the Weekly Volcano Press, and that got me into the national or I don't remember, the Thespian Society.
Right.
I was able to get into it because you had to do on stage and off stage stuff, and obviously the off stage stuff I was fine with because
Right.
I did lighting all of high school, and then I became director senior year, so that was my thing. So that was really easy.
These are really cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it was a good time. That's where I met my friend Timmy, aka Timto, and then my friend Caitlin, who you've heard about too.
Yeah.
So we were lighting crew. But yeah, I was on stage for that, and then we did Little Mermaid my junior year, and then senior year we would have done Godspell, but second half of senior year didn't exist.
Right.
And then we had something called the London play in February, which was like forensics. And if you don't know about forensics, it's basically like competitive acting. Do you know about that?
I know what actual forensics are.
It's not that.
I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like one of those things. I was a runner for two of my friends. One of them goes here. Hi, Emmett. And what you do is basically you have like different pieces where you could either do like a group thing, or like it could be a solo thing. I'm probably explaining it all wrong, but basically you have a piece and you compete against other people who have their own pieces of the same category. So
like you had to write something.
No,
okay.
You perform like a piece, like I believe specifically my friends did a skit from like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay.
They did
like
I
Want It That Way opening.
Yes, they did that. I believe that was it.
Oh,
and
my
it was really good.
That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And then there was another one. I want to say they did something from Heathers. And so like there's some like musical bits, I believe, but then there's like dramatic categories, there's comedic categories and stuff like that.
Comedic comedies.
And exactly. And
much better than the tragic tragedies.
Precisely. But you compete against people at other schools, and I believe Dumont was the only northern
dramatic
Jersey.
dramas.
I believe we're the only North Jersey school that participated in New Jersey forensics. But it's really cool if you're interested in that. That's like one of the coolest things ever, and I just loved being like surrounded by all the people that were like super passionate about theater, and just being there. I only went to States, so that was only like at the end of February, like each year. I went twice and it was cool. And actually at the high school that Sal and Kelly went to, besties. So I have pictures in their school and they're like, this is so weird, because obviously I didn't go to their school.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, so that was a London play. How did I get here? Sorry. And then we did one of my favorite shows was in April every year. We did One Acts, which is student written, student directed plays. And it was like one of the coolest things because I got to see like, the writing of my classmates, and then also like it really gave them the opportunity to shine.
Right.
And then my junior year I wrote a murder mystery with my friend Timmy, and it was one of like my favorite experiences. My friend Sophia directed it, and it was really cool. The whole process of writing the entire script, and then we got to see it being cast and got to see it like being performed, and then I became really close with some of the people who ended up being cast in my show. And Emmett was in it, and he was the character that is living. And one of my favorite parts of the show is we made a character drag the dead body off stage, but only so much so that his legs just laid there the entire show. Afterwards. And then my senior year, I wrote a play with my friend Madeline, and it's called A Hitman's Soliloquy. And hopefully this is not the last time people are hearing that name, because it never got to be performed because of the
Oh,
pandemic,
yeah.
but we're
Panna
adapting
cotta.
it for stage play to screenplay.
Oh, interesting.
So hopefully that will come out in the next couple of years. And I absolutely adore that show.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun. And it's funny because it has like a pretty, I would say, like the word soliloquy is like I feel like it gives a dramatic tone to the show, but it is like this most like funny and dare I say chaotic show. um I feel like I don't know if
Chaos,
you
you
should
say?
chaos I say, so wouldn't
Can you
wouldn't
talk
really.
a lot about this if it's not even? I don't know. You're not under any legal ramifications, so I'm sure you can.
No, yeah, no, I just wrote it with my friend, and we're thinking of making it into a film. I might be spoiling it a little bit. Sorry, Madeline. But we spent a lot of time on the script and then it was never actually performed, so I would love to do something with
Yeah,
it eventually.
I would love to write something like that.
Mm,
I've only
it's
written songs and stuff,
yeah.
but I'd love to write like a book or something.
I
I don't
would
know.
love to take, at least if I don't come up with something new, take like one of my past stories
Yeah,
and like further develop it. Because the thing with the Hitman play is it was only 20 pages because we were limited to that.
right.
But then last summer we started going back to the story and further developing it because, you know, if you only have 20 pages, you have to give up a lot.
Yeah,
There
you
was a
can't have
lot of
much.
like, oh, like you have to just accept the fact that the two main characters became friends really fast,
Right.
something like that. So when you have the opportunity to make it as many pages as you want, you could actually like flesh that out, like,
Right.
oh, make it somewhat more believable. So I was really
Yeah,
excited to start
pacing has
doing that.
always been a big thing for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think if I ever was to sit down and write out a story, I would have trouble with pacing.
Mm-hmm. I I make things way too slow.
Slow burn.
Yeah, and like I put like too, whoa, my phone fell. Almost too much detail into some things because I don't know. I guess it's because I want it to be convincing, but then it's kind of exhausting.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I know I have to work on. My dad calls it fluff. I need to
Yeah.
remove the fluff from the story. But that's also one of my favorite things about, like, I become much more comfortable with sharing my work with other people.
That's
I've
good.
mentioned on air before, sorry, I have the same few character traits, but I'm in my intro to screenwriting class, and my professor said that what we're going to do is we're going to share our work with the class. We're literally going to sit in a circle and have people read out your characters, and then we
Oh,
critique it afterwards. And that could be very terrifying to some people, but
yeah.
I'm like so excited to do that because I did that. I took a dramatic writing class in high school and it was like one of my favorite things. We wrote a class-wide short film, um called like The Forbidden Door or something, and I filmed the trailer for it, and it was
That's
like it
awesome.
was just such a good time. And so I'm excited to relive that. But that's one of those things, is like write out the script as much as you can, as much as you would like, and then find someone else who's never heard it before and show them. And then it's so easy for someone else to pick out like, hey, this is not convincing. Like this
Right.
relationship doesn't make sense. Or okay, I get it. Please cut out like these 5 pages or something like really
Yeah.
serious like that. Getting someone else to look at your work is really important.
Very true.
And again, in that class, my professor has had a lot of people who come in and write and tell their experience with short films,
Right.
and it's incredible how much is cut from
Yeah.
like even like, oh, like we're shooting this entire scene's happening, it will not be used.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one where like there was just one word that was cut out of a scene and it completely changed it.
Really?
It was incredible. And
Professional or something you've done?
Professional, like someone who came in just as a guest speaker for my class. And so we
Do
looked
you
at,
remember the example or?
I wish I did. I wish I did. Oh goodness. I might be able to find it in my notes somewhere.
Yeah.
But it was
That's
really, really
insane.
good. And it was just, and that was something that's just done. That's thanks to incredible editing,
Yeah.
you know, in post. A lot can be done.
Editing is everything.
Honestly. Oh, do you know that the YouTube channel?
I've heard of it. I haven't
Yeah.
really watched much of
I
it.
get notifications for them, but I
Yeah.
haven't watched it in a minute. Because isn't that the one where they changed the genre?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. They take like movies and stuff, and it could be like a comedy, and they edit it into like a tragedy or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's really
Um,
cool. I'm gonna watch more of those because that's like a
yeah.
really good thing to learn if
Mm-hmm.
you're like want to do editing kind of like I do. And I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest, editing is fun, but editing certain things like sitting through editing a King's Cast episode isn't much work. You just got to make sure everyone can be heard. But like some of the editing I do for the art videos I do just drive me up a wall. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's something about those. But like when I was doing editing for my internship, when I was working with a podcast with Really Famous and Kara, like I'm like, this is cool. I like doing this editing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe editing like a story, something story driven might be better. I don't know. Because like the
Mm-hmm.
way when I used to do gaming videos, I'm like, okay, here's an hour of footage. Let me cut it down to like 10, 15 minutes. I hated that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Editing stuff down is very exhausting
Yeah.
sometimes. I do that for the station. It's good though. Editing is exhausting work, but in my opinion, I feel like it's very rewarding
Yes.
because then you look at the final product, you're like, wow, I made that.
That's why I like YouTube takes a lot out of me, and making videos is a lot. But when I look at it, and even just looking at the thumbnails, just like seeing that entire repertoire, I'm like, I did all of this.
Yeah.
They might not be the best videos. They might be as stupid as calling the Terminator, but it's something I made,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
so it's just a little bit better.
It's really cool to look back on all the stuff that you've done. And
Yeah.
especially at the beginning, it's a little bit like, oh, I don't have that much to show for
Right.
myself. And then over time, it's like a whole collection of things that
Yeah.
you've done. And I think that's really cool. I wish that I kept up with a YouTube channel,
It's never too
honestly.
late to start.
Yeah, I did like vlogs on Instagram that I think I've mentioned to you
Yeah.
or shown you. Um, that I kind of wish I put on YouTube. Unfortunately, a lot of the footage has been lost
Yeah.
over time, but that'll happen. But it's still on Instagram, so it's still out
That's
there
good.
for the universe. I love making vlogs. It's really cute. I love like capturing memories and stuff like that.
That is really nice. The
Yeah.
only thing when it comes to vlogs, I haven't done a real vlog yet. I'm too self-conscious to hold a phone up and start speaking to no one in a public place.
Yeah.
I did a skit vlog where I was going outside for the first time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't like this was within my development where there's like very little people outside. And if there was someone else even on the other side of the street, I'm like, not filming, not gonna film yet, not gonna film yet.
No, vlogging in public is one of the most awkward things. And I believe I have several vlogs where I have said that and I have kept it in because it is very awkward. And
Yeah, I
I'd
think
say
Kelly said the same thing. Like,
yeah, it's really awkward. But then you look at Kelly's vlogs and they're like, I think they're amazing.
yeah, they're really fun.
And I really appreciate that. And it's not just because I'm in them, but it's cool that there's like those memories are being kept in a very nice way.
And just seeing it from another perspective.
Yeah.
Like I was there, but this is what somebody else saw.
Yeah.
Like this is what I was doing, and this is how it looked from a third person perspective.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And but it is very awkward, but then you look at the end product.
Yeah.
And so I just want to, whenever I do that, I just remind myself like, yeah, I'm gonna like it later. And I don't care if these people judge me for the moment because I'm never gonna see them again. If they're outside your house, they probably live near you. You might run into them a couple times. But
I don't think I ever have them.
Oh, okay. That's fun. Like, no, I am the neighborhood vlogger.
People are just lining up for autographs every day.
Yeah, it must be exhausting.
Well, they had to sneak me out of the house to move me back to college.
Everyone wants to talk to you.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I don't think I've ever shared that story. Somebody asked me that this was many years ago, but me and my friends were at Yes Arcades, in Red Bank, which is just an old school arcade, because arcades are severely underrated. And I think there should be more of them available in the area, but whatever. Anyway, we were there, and this group of kids came up to me. I forget exactly what they said, but I think they said, like, "Are you so and so YouTuber?" And I just went, "No, sorry." And then I went back to my friends. I'm like, "Wait a minute, I probably should have said, but I do have a YouTube."
Oh,
I don't know, but it was weird because I'm like, "Oh, hi, you are tiny." No, sorry.
Do you not know the YouTuber?
I forget if they said a person's name, because if they said a person's name, I would have had to know they were a YouTuber, or else it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah.
But if they just said, "Are you a YouTuber?" I don't know why I would have said no. So I
Fair
don't
enough.
know. I don't know the exact context. Like I said, this was many years ago, at least 5 to 6, I think.
This is completely valid.
Because me and my friends always used to make, like, not weekly, but every so often we would just like go and spend a whole Saturday at Red Bank. It was really fun. Yeah.
Fun and funky.
Yes.
Fresh.
Yeah, I don't talk to any of those people anymore.
Oh.
It's sad. It's unfortunate.
I'm
but whatever.
sorry.
It's what it is.
You have Mole.
I do.
Hi, I'm here now.
Yes. Much better.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah. The friends were okay. Most of them were just like friends by association. Just so like friends of friend.
This is
Yeah. So whatever.
what now?
I don't know. We have 7 minutes to kill.
7 minutes.
I don't know. I actually we filled this.
Yeah.
I was a little worried, but like,
because you got me talking about theater, and then I just kept going.
Okay, so you've watched some Doctor Who, right?
Yes.
Have any of them actually scared you? Like any of the episodes, aliens or anything?
Not in my memory.
Oh,
sorry.
He's great.
Well, I haven't seen that much.
I know. Weeping Angels.
Okay, no wait.
Used to get me. Always.
No wait, those are really freaky.
Yeah. There are 2 that really got me. Weeping Angels and the Vashta Narada, which were the shadow demons or whatever they were called. The form they took, the physical form, were these space suits with like the skeletons of people inside. I don't know why that one freaked me out so much. That and what was it called?
No, the Weeping Angels scared me.
The Weeping Angels. Yeah, the Weeping Angels.
I gotta take that one back. They scared me.
Yeah. You said you didn't watch much of 9, right? Eccleston.
Yeah, not much.
Okay. There was this one episode that took place in like World War II, and it was a gas the alien or the villain of the week was the gas masked child.
I could picture this.
Terrifying, because all it did was go around. It's like, "Are you my mommy?"
I do know
like,
this one.
No, not watching that one.
I actually do know that one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that. And because like this, I started watching, like, this was the first year we got Netflix, and I'm like, I have some time on New Year's Eve before our family friends from Brooklyn come over. Let me try something. Ooh, Doctor Who. Oh, this is a good show. And then wait 6 months before I watch the second episode, because that's how I do TV.
Naturally.
And then so I just started binge watching it when I was home alone, when I got home from school and I was home alone. And then that comes, I'm like, no, thank you. And then a few years later, I went back. I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. So
yeah.
So those are the top 3 that scared the ever loving out of me.
I feel I have a fun fact, but I don't have enough information for it.
What is it about?
It's about, oh goodness, the actor that played Alfred in Gotham is the child of one of the doctors.
Oh,
I believe.
Probably not any of the recent ones.
No. I want to say 4.
Tom Baker.
I will work on this information.
Yes. Wait.
Sean.
Doctor Who, Doctor 4. I believe it's played by Tom Baker.
Perhaps not 4.
Okay. I can't help you.
I
Wait,
will work on it.
Gotham Alfred actor.
Oh wait. Third.
Sean.
3.
Yes, Sean Pertwee.
Yes.
Yes,
3.
I recognize the last name.
Okay, yeah, it looks like it was 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's my
Yeah, right there. People also search for John Pertwee.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
He's right there.
Okay, there it is. I was very close. That's why I'm like, I need a little bit more information.
Some of them had some good costume design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to look at them.
Tennant, Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith all had great design. I'm looking at Pertwee right now. He's snazzy.
I could agree with this.
He's got that.
I can confirm.
Yeah.
Snaz.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's my fun fact.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. And then so naturally that's my connection to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because my dad worked on Gotham.
Yes.
Haha.
That's
Hi,
really cool.
audience, you know that now. Hi, Dad. He's probably not listening.
Aw.
Well, no, he's probably at work
That's fair.
on whatever he's on right now. Congrats, Dad, for whatever job you're on. It's not Gotham though, which is a bummer.
Is that show over?
Yeah, Gotham ended a couple years ago.
Years? Right. Time
Yeah.
doesn't. That time has meant enough. Time is irrelevant. Anyway, I've never
Gotham
seen Gotham.
Ended 2019.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, dodge a bullet on that one.
haha. Well, oh, and then naturally, my dad, he also worked on a show called Pose. And I believe he was returning for his second season on the show. And they only started 2 weeks before the pandemic hit.
Oh,
And then it was delayed
this
until like
Panna
several
Cotta
months,
ruined everything.
honestly.
Ugh.
But yeah, Gotham ended just before that. And the funny, honestly, I want to watch it again. I thought it was a really good show. I really like the lighting, but
Bias.
a little biased. No, but the show is really good, and I actually got to meet some of the cast at a Heroes and Villains convention.
Oh.
And they're such sweet people.
Imagine going outside of your house and participating in social events.
But you did with him.
Him.
Barely.
That was barely a social event.
We met him. Do you want to talk about him? We have seconds.
We have 30 seconds.
Mere
Yeah. So
seconds.
this weekend, me and Emily, Emol, whatever you want to call her, went
Music.
to Monster Mania Con down in Cherry Hill because for one reason and one reason only. It's
Him.
because Ice Nine Kills frontman Spencer Charnas, one of my favorite bands, was there doing a photo op. And so we said, why not? And so we really went to a convention to spend 5 seconds with this man. I think it was worth it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He was very lovely.
He wasn't for the 5 seconds. He was very nice.
Yes, I would say so. And then we spent more time outside of the booth going, oh my god, just met Spencer. But it was really cute. I liked the
Did you
event.
tell Vector and Nicole that we gave him a crown on their behalf?
I don't know how they would feel about that.
True.
But-
They're very particular that only guests get them.
Yeah, but
So we
he's a
might have to
guest in
get
our
him
heart.
as a guest for them before we tell
yeah.
them.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on it.
Maybe we'll
Yeah.
tell them soon.
Yeah. Anyway, unless you have anything else to say, this has been King's Chaos.
Finn.
What?
Finn.
Finn? What are you talking about?
End. It's the end of the episode.
Fend.
Finn.
Fend.
Shasha.
Emol's in charge of the outros on this show.
Why?
Have a good day, everybody.